好，大家好，我哋稍為靜坐。
講
Oh,
你講
sorry.
英文。
I keep forgetting. Today is the English class, so let's meditate for just a brief moment. Good evening, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our monthly meditation. Um, hang on just 1 second. Where does it come from? Oh, okay, sorry. I got echo on my end. Okay, so for those of you who joined us last month actually, we had an opportunity to ask Venerable De Hong to summarize his work, his Dharma activity inside the prison with his students who are incarcerated individuals. I thought that would be a nice tradition. So I will ask Venerable De Hong to kind of summarize some of the activity that has happened in the last month or so, especially with one student that's just been recently released. So with that, let me give the podium to Venerable De Hong.
Thank you. Thank you, Danny. Good evening. So to start, I will share with you guys some of the pictures that I posted on my Facebook page. This is a picture of inside the chapel at Lancaster State Prison. From LA, from my house, is about 84 miles each way. And inside the chapel, this is how we meditate. We have those, this is the blankets, the cotton blankets that we used. Those are the blankets that the folks inside the prison use in their bed when they need to cover their bodies, when they, especially in cold weather. And this is the group of people that I meet on Tuesday. And the pictures were taken on May 14 when we celebrate Buddha's birthday. I haven't posted the pictures of the men bathing the Buddha. I will do that sometime later this week. And, this is how they sit. Now, then on Sunday morning, every Sunday from 8 a.m. to 9:30, I host an online meditation meeting. We just check in, we meditate for half an hour, and then we check in again. This is basically a support group for formerly incarcerated people as well. Depending on that day of the week, we have somewhere from 4 to 5 to 8 people. And as Danny mentioned, this is a picture that we took at a Vietnamese vegetarian restaurant. This person's name is Micah Harris. I met him in Chakrawala when I first began my volunteering work in September of 2013. So I have known him for almost 11 years. He came home in March of this year. So basically 2 months ago, he reached out and I met him at the restaurant. He spent 18 years inside the prison. And he had a pretty rough, literally traumatic childhood. When he was born, his parents were divorced or separated. So his mom raised him by herself. And when he got to 12 or 13, he started acting up. Um, he became belligerent, just like, if I may say, some typical teenagers. So his mom couldn't deal with him. She sent him to his father. And I was kind of like puzzled, but I we don't know the insight. So his father remarried. His father, of course, African American. He married a Caucasian woman with three stepdaughters that she brought to the marriage. So for him as a teenager, I'm not sure. I think it was somewhere in the LA area, if I'm not mistaken. He was kind of like teased or laughed at by his classmates for having a white stepmother who dropped him off at school sometimes. That's one thing. Second, a lot of times his father watched porn and his father left it on, so he was able to see that. Or when his father had sex and they didn't close the door. The other issue that he witnessed is that his stepmother or his stepsister, a lot of times they ran around the house with just a towel without anything on. And this is for him as a kid, that's how he perceived girls or women. Um, in in terms of psychology, and I'm not defending him, I'm just trying to share you what he told me. In a way, like he didn't really have a lot of respect for women, for him as a kid, as a teenager from 13 to at least 18. And he actually went on college and he actually was training for the Olympic. And he had different girlfriends over the years, and the incident at one point that got him into the prison. So that's, because of his privacy, I couldn't really say much more. But he's doing good. He has a brother, an older brother, I believe, living in Alabama, who actually flew to LA to California to pick him up and drop him off at the transitional housing. And that's where he is. Other than that, I just came back from the prison visit today. At Lancaster, I was in BR and AR. BR, I had six guys. AR, I had nine. BR, there's this one guy, when he came to the chapel with me, he was always happy. And when we meditate for 25 minutes only. And he always felt comfortable enough to fall asleep. He has been incarcerated for 34 years. He's now 50, so he was incarcerated when he was 16. And I asked him, there was another person who has been also incarcerated for almost 30 years. My question for them was that usually people would would go to lower level and eventually they would go home. But why was it that that they still at level 4 after 30 years? So the reason was that when they were first incarcerated for the first few years, they were angry. So they broke all kinds of rules that even up until now, they are still being housed at level 4 state prison. That's be in Asia where I have nine guys, and one of them, he was lying down meditating, but he felt safe enough that he actually felt to sleep and he was snoring. So we just meditate on his snoring, and we meditate for an hour with the man in AER. And just so you guys know, the reason that I said that he felt safe, because inside the prison you don't feel safe, especially for people of different ethnicity, with Latino, white, and Caucasian, African American. You don't feel safe within each other in any common space. But inside the chapel, I'm not saying that I have any power, but in a meditation group like mine, they felt safe enough to just let it loose. They took off their shoes just so that they can sit comfortably. And that's how it is for in my experience with the men inside the prison, be it even level 3 or level 4. So that's, in short, that's a bit of my introduction or a bit of summary of what I do. Now, on to the topic of tonight's talk. I will quickly,
Venerable,
um,
Venerable.
yes. hmm
I wonder if I could ask a question, maybe
Sure.
go back to Macau, right? Macau?
No, Micah.
Micah. Go back to Micah for a minute.
Mhm.
How long have you known him?
11 years now.
11 years. So, and he's been in prison for
18
18
years.
years,
hmm
18 years.
He's 45
And
years old.
right. And when did he become a Buddhist? When did he start practicing meditation? Before he met you or after he met you?
That's right after he met me because when I started, I did it different. There was another nonprofit, but they did more of the chanting style. But when I start, I do more of a meditation style.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
focus more on mindfulness meditation because that was
Yeah.
requested of me.
Now, I suspect, and I'm pretty sure it's the case, he has changed, right?
Oh
He
yeah.
has changed
hmm
um, after he met you and start meditating because the fact that he was able to, was he released on parole?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the fact that he was released on parole after serving, what is it, 18 years?
Yes.
Yeah. So that which meant that well, he didn't made it clear, but it was obvious that the crime that he committed was sexual in nature, right?
It was actually physical.
Okay,
It
okay.
was
But in any
physical.
case, it was not something. It was very violent in nature,
Correct.
and
hmm
so for him, it was quite a journey to go from that with all the um, difficulty that he had being raised, and then transition to where he is now to the point where they release him
hmm
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe someday we could talk about that. Maybe, yeah, and see how that works.
Yeah, I mean, one we can invite him to our talk. He's very calm. And he
Hmm.
said he never had any problem, never had any physical with any girls or women that he dated, except that
Hmm.
was that one time. You know,
Yeah, I
so
would love that. I would love that too, because I think that um, the key is to be able to talk about the transition into
hmm
that how he found the light and then kind of work his way towards the light, right? To a
hmm
point that yeah, and then similarly when you talk about the other inmate who was there for many years, probably he's probably going to be there for life. He probably won't be eligible for parole, right?
hmm
So in the prison, there tend to be like two populations. For those who are there for a long time, one is that those who are eligible for parole, there's a small chance that they might want to improve themselves
hmm
and behave and all that. And then those who are in prison for life, they kind of it's just very difficult. There's no hope for them. And then
It,
for him
yeah.
to be to be in a relaxed enough state that he would take off his shoes and sleep among uh, other inmates, other individuals, incarcerated individuals who are of mixed race and mixed background. That's quite a achievement.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah.
they cannot take up they won't take up their shoes. The shoes are always
Hmm.
on and
Yeah.
unless they take showers.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because you have to be ready at all times to fight or run.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to have a conversation with this gentleman. Maybe
Yeah.
that could be, we could either do that in one of the Tuesday session, or we could have just on occasion when needed, an extra session where we just have a a conversation,
Yeah.
interview of sort. Yeah, I think that would be good. I tell
Hmm.
you, there's a little secret that I have, which is that um, in the morning sessions these days in Cantonese sessions, I start to talk about how um, a lot of Asians are infected by cancer, especially lung cancer, even though
Hmm.
they have no history of smoking, nor do they have family members who smoke, but yet they suffer from lung cancer. And there's a theory that much of that has to do with the mind, the fact that they are always in fear and anxious
The
and
trauma.
and trauma, and a lot
Mhm.
of that is just a lot of the Asian immigrants. They are fearful of people of color, especially this gentleman.
Yeah, he's 6 foot too.
Yeah, I know. So another reason, another dimensions of a discussion is I really like for my other our students, our other immigrant students to have a chance to see them up close, that
Hmm.
to understand that they're human, because this is the kind of experience that we have inside the prison that other people don't have,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And
That
these people, they don't put on any mask or any kind of fake, what do you call mask or layers. They tell you as
right,
it is. They tell
right,
you what's in,
right.
in their mind.
Right.
Hmm.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. So let's go back to the regular programming. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So let me see. So I'm sorry, I'll run through quickly just because of the interest of time. Since you guys have the PowerPoint, I will, I hope you can find time to go through it. But I will,
Let's not assume that, Venerable De Hong. Let's not assume that.
okay.
Yeah, let's take our time. If it means
Okay.
that we stretch it out to next session, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. All right, so let's see. So before I talk about the last part of the Eightfold Path, I want to do a quick introduction of this young man. He's only 21 years old. I say he's a kid. His name is JJ McCarthy. Uh, in case if you guys don't know, he was just drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, of the NFL. I don't watch football because I have no clue what that sport is. But I happened to see the headline with him sitting, meditating. It caught my attention. So what happened to him was that when he was 17 years old, he was in high school in Florida, and he began to feel depressed because he wanted to be some of like the big sport athletes, like Michael Jordan or Tom Brady. So, but then he was concerned about his mental health, so he started googling about mental health, and the one thing that came up, according to him, was meditation. So he started to give it a try, and he actually meditate every morning from 30 to 40 minutes. He went to After graduation from high school, he went to the University of Michigan and became one of the football team's quarterback, and he actually was named the best quarterback in the team's 20-year history. The other thing about him is that before each football game, he meditate for 10 minutes. That's how that's how it got him to feel grounded and centered. And he's pretty wise. I include the YouTube. You guys can Google him. He's on YouTube quite a lot too. And he basically said, he just focused on the breath, just so that he can feel connected within himself, just so that he can be in the present moment. And he said he wanted to promote the meditation practice to the rest of the world, kids who look up to him. And he's pretty wise. I don't know what his future holds, but he is pretty wise in saying that there are in life there are storms, that we cannot avoid no matter what. And nobody go through life smoothly. But the meditation for him will help you. And he also is very mindful of his diet. The reason I bring this up is that because in the West, in America, we still have so much misperceptions about Buddhism, about meditation. But if you peel off the rituals, the burning incense, the offering, meditation is about the Buddhism, and the practice of meditation is about how you live your life that without causing suffering or harm on yourself and others. So just a bit review. Last month we talked about the morality, right? Right speech, right action, and right livelihood. Right speech, when we speak properly, we can use it to purify ourselves. Basically, we can purify our negative karma through right speech. So tonight we are on concentration, on mental clarity, which consists of right effort or skillful mindfulness, and skillful concentration. Right effort is with determination, with awareness, that we do what we can to prevent the arising of any negative state of mind, such as resentment, jealousy, anger. And second, we want to overcome any or get rid of any negative state of mind. The third thing in right effort is to cultivate wholesome, positive state of mind, which consists of loving kindness, compassion, and generosity. And the fourth part in the right effort is to continue to maintain those states, those wholesome states of mind. So to prevent the arising of negative states of mind, it requires training, it requires mindfulness. And one aspect of mindfulness is remembering. We need to be constantly mindful. You don't have to be on edge or to be like vigilant, but it's just to simply coming back to the breath and to be aware. That's what mindfulness is. And also when you practice according to Bhante Gunaratana, when you continue to be mindful, nothing will upset you. And to tell you my experiences, I have to deal with the prison, I have to deal with paperwork, I have to deal with people who approve my paperwork. It takes so much time to fill out the paperwork, which consists of like 30 pages on a yearly basis. I have to do TB tests, I have to do the online training, and the time in between to email all these things and to get a response, it takes time. I have to come back to my breath, and the things that people say or not say, I have to let it go. And then remember this phrase that nothing would upset you, because if I get upset, I'm the one that suffer. If I say anything negative, I create negative karma on my part. So I'm not 100% perfect, but I have been pretty mindful, and I don't even complain about it to anyone. Like Tina Turner said, never complain. So, and the second thing about overcoming the negative state of mind is um, to be mindful, to overcome greed, ill will, dullness, drowsiness, restlessness, worry, and doubt. And as you guys may know, these are the five hindrances that I think we covered when we first started last year on mindfulness, what mindfulness is. And here he gives some hint on like overcoming negative states of mind. Basically, ignore it, direct your mind to something else and replace it with the opposite, with the positive state of mind. Reflect on your hindrances on a regular basis. And here he said, press your tongue and get through it. Or the other thing we could say is that tough it out if it's possible, but you have to be mindful just so that you don't adversely affected by what you are trying to suppress. It's not about suppressing. Okay, so keep that in mind. The other thing that actually here he said suppressing. I'm sorry. So do what you can: suppressing, substituting, destroying, subsiding, and escape. Now, the other thing that you can, I post a link here, is by Thanisao Bhikkhu. The title is Into the Stream, a study guide on the first stage of awakening. This is about, because when you're able to overcome the negative state of mind and prevent the negative states of mind from arising, you are actually on your way to attain the first stage of awakening. And part of it is to also overcome the 10 feathers. The first three items, if you can overcome them, you are arriving at the first state of enlightenment. I don't include Bhante Guna Ratana in his book. Include a brief discussion of what these are. I'm not enlightened, so I'm not sure if I'm qualified to discuss that with you guys. But if you want, please let us know. Let Danny know. I can type out the notes and read them to you guys. But for me as a monk, I cannot say, because I'm not enlightened, so I cannot really say, oh, this is what enlightenment is. I can't. It's against my precept, or it's against, I mean, ethically and morally, I don't think it's appropriate. Okay. And here is the list of the 10 feathers that when you can overcome, you can reach the final state of enlightenment, which is arahat. The third part of the right effort is cultivating a positive state of mind. When we are able to prevent the arising of negative state of mind, then your mind is at a neutral. You are simply your mind is filled with mindfulness, and because the breath is neutral. And what you can do is, when this time, then you can add on the practice of loving kindness, the practice of compassion, the practice of generosity, the practice of gratitude. This will replace the negative and prevent the negative states of mind from being developed. And the other thing that also help is like to remember any skillful acts or wholesome deed that you have done in the past, and maintain that. And also, when you remember it, and know that that is without attachment, that you don't necessarily have to cling to it or brag about it. You can mention this is what you, let's say, to close friends, but in terms of bragging, or like, oh, I'm doing this, that, then I would advise not to do it. The other thing that to help with cultivating positive state of mind is, recognizing your past success with overcoming greed, hatred, and ignorance. And that's how you cultivate positive state of mind. And the fourth part is to maintain those positive state of mind is the first of all, associate or stay in contact with good people, with virtuous people, and stay away from negative or toxic people. Even if that's family members, stay away if you can. I mean, I guess with holiday, you may not be able to, but be careful and be mindful, because you want to maintain your spirituality. You want to maintain and support your positive states of mind. And again, positive or wholesome state of mind are necessary to uproot your suffering, your negative let's say, relationship with difficult people, the positive state of mind can help you to counter those. So I think in the interest of time, I will, because it's 6:30, I will keep the rest for next month. And let's continue with the meditation practice. Let's take some deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth. When you breathe in, notice that your body may tense up a little bit because it takes an amount of energy to fill your lungs with air. And when you breathe out on purpose, because it takes no effort, this is how you can relax your body. Take as many deep breaths as you like to fully relax. This is done with intention. So in, out, and relaxed. Even remind yourself to relax. Sometimes when we get caught up in our mind, or if I may say, we live in our head, come back to the breath, remind yourself to relax, remind yourself to feel safe. And even remind yourself that you are okay. It is important. This is important, especially for folks who are grieving, who experience trauma, or who experience broken hearts. Let go of your thoughts, planning, or what you have carried, your fear, your worry, anxiety, and relaxed. And even allow your body to really settle. Once you're done, breathe normally. Start with a smile. Notice how you feel when you smile, and how that feeling gives rise to the physiological sensations in the body. And notice that the feeling, the sensations are quickly fading away. And how you feel next depends on your mind, your body, or both. Let's stay with the breath. Let's do the sensual practice by first noticing your environment, the space around you, the room temperature. You can notice the temperature without having to label cold or hot or humid. You simply are aware using your body, but not your judgment. Then check in with your mind, see how busy it is with thoughts or traveling around from one place to another. And with this type of mind, notice that it can affect your feeling, your emotion, your attitude, your mood, your perception, your thought process, your view, your conduct. And that's how and what the mind does. Then your sense of seeing, whether your eyes are open or closed. Your sense of hearing, know that You cannot turn off your hearing consciousness, your sense of smell, your sense of taste, and bodily touch. The sensual practice helps you to stay grounded and centered no matter where you are at any given moment. Whatever posture that you are in, be it sitting, standing, walking, lying down. And this is how you are grounded and centered when you come back to the breath and check in with your senses. So you don't get distracted or feel overwhelmed when you are being triggered. Let's stay with the breath and let's take the next couple minutes to process the thoughts in your conscious mind. And all you have to do is sit back and relax. Allow each thought to rise, recognize it, accept it, and let it go. All these thoughts are from your past encounter or planning. And because you have not processed or addressed them, they come up when you're not busy or when you're meditating. You realize that you have no control over what kind of thought appears as you are sitting right now. But you have the ability to be mindful, to recognize the thought without judgment, without reacting, and let it go. That's mindfulness. You can think of your mind as your home. This mindfulness that you're cultivating is the owner of this home. The thoughts that appear are guests standing at your front door. You see each guest for who he is or she is, and let them go. Sit back and relax in the comfort of your home. The moment that you engage or react to a thought, you're out of home. You lose that mindfulness. So patiently come back to the breath, come back home. And this is one way that you directly clear your mind. And you can do it a few times a day, so that you can maintain that mental clarity throughout the day. Even if something that upsets you or something that you are clinging to or craving, let it go. Back to the breath. There is nothing more important than your peace of mind, your mental clarity. Now let's continue to stay with the breath, but this time just pay attention to your breath, the in-breath and the out-breath. You can ignore thoughts that come up or noise that you hear in the background, including my instruction. Smile to make it interesting for your mind to be present with the breath. The longer you're able to stay with the breath, ignore thoughts and noise, the stronger is your concentration. And that will give you what we call the mental strength, meaning that when you are reading or doing something, you're able to better focus. And also you can focus longer. That's what concentration means when you're cultivating it. Let's move on and practice compassion for yourself. Compassion is your mental ability to recognize that you're under a lot of stress or dealing with a lot of difficult issues and know how to deal with them and care for yourself instead of harming yourself and others. This is a mental training of the mind. So as you are sitting, you can repeat some of the following phrases. May I recognize any stress or difficult issues that I experienced. May I not react to any of them. May I not say or do anything to harm myself and others. May I love myself unconditionally. May I be calm and peaceful. Just keep repeating these phrases to cultivate a sense of compassion for yourself. This is a positive or wholesome state of mind that you're planting, cultivating. May I recognize any stress or difficult issues that I experienced. May I not react to any of them. May I not say or do anything to harm myself and others. May I love myself unconditionally. May I be calm and peaceful. And notice how you feel when you have compassion for yourself. Allow your mind, your heart to open, to be filled with compassion, unlimited compassion, love, kindness, patience. Let's sit in silence for the next few minutes. Just continue to cultivate compassion for yourself. Let's check in with your mind, see how perhaps somewhat settled your mind is, less wandering, your feeling, your emotion, your attitude, your mood, your thought process. All of this can be affected by your mind. Check in with your body, the sensations throughout your body, your posture, and notice the qualities of mindfulness, concentration, patience, and compassion that you just cultivated. With that, I will hand it over to Danny. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are two things that I really like. One was you mentioned how because you're not enlightened,
Yeah.
that so therefore you shouldn't talk about what enlightenment feels like or what it's like. And so, but if people are interested, then you would refer them to the literature.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that's because you are a monk. You're a I think that's in general true. It's not necessarily limited to a monk.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
It would be like I try to explain to you what Japan is like, and then I've never been to Japan. I only read about
Mm-hmm.
it. Right?
Correct.
I think that's I like that.
Mm-hmm.
The part that I also like is when you talk about mindfulness, and you said much of it is just remember. Just remember, check your mind, make sure your mind is on your breath, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, right? I'm reminded of someone who explained mindfulness as anchoring your mind. Because I remember when I was 15 years old and I came to the United States, and we came from Macau, and so we had to take a overnight boat, a very big diesel power boat to Hong Kong. My entire family had to take that, and then after we came to United States, no, maybe a couple months, 2 months, there was a huge typhoon in Hong Kong, and
Mm-hmm.
the same boat um, had to anchor off an island because they were trying to make it back to Macau with no passengers, just sailors.
Mm-hmm.
And but the storm was so much that they had to anchor the boat, and then the anchor broke, and so the boat the ship drifted off into the ocean and capsized. And then I think like there were like over 100 sailors, and more than two-thirds of them were drowned, and almost all of them they couldn't even find the body. So I'm reminded of that because in a way that's who we are. Like we're just like bouncing around in this
Mm-hmm.
storm of emotion, fear and anxiety and so forth. And if you don't anchor your mind, it's very dangerous, right?
Yeah.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think I think when earlier at the beginning of the session we talked about these individuals, these incarcerated individuals who grew up with all the difficulties, and that they had to they're in violent. And there's no more violent place than the prison, and that's how they had to protect themselves. But yet, when they learn about mindfulness meditation, once they can anchor the mind onto the breath, um, that positive energy will come up. I think you mentioned that you have to kind of let the negative energy subside,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't. I think that someone said that you have to suppress them, and I agree. The word is not suppress. The word is just understand it and not exaggerate it.
Mm-hmm.
Let it go. Let it go. Right?
Yeah.
Just let it go. And I remember one time you last time you in oh, actually, it was in the Chinese class that you mentioned about the sense door meditation. You
Mm-hmm.
guard your senses like you're guarding your front door,
Yeah.
you know, and you let the emotions, the bad emotion comes by, you greet them, but you don't let them become you. So
Mm-hmm.
that's not the same as suppressing. That's actually accepting it and
Yeah.
then letting it go. Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that all that starts from mindfulness. You know, it's not a very, meditation is not that mysterious. It's
No.
it's just like, it's just like holding your grandson when you walk across the street.
Mm-hmm.
It's very dangerous if you don't hold the hand. It's very dangerous if you don't anchor your mind, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, you also mentioned Tina Turner. You know, you've been we spent a couple of months now on the Tina Turner's book, but it was in Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
You actually translated, and the audience were the Chinese students. One of these days, you ought to spend some time talking about Tina Turner's book and her life as a meditator
Okay.
in an English class. I think the idea that we bring people, like we talk about. I really like the idea that you mentioned this person and how meditation changed their life, and you mentioned about this, and some of them are able to overcome extreme difficulties, right? And I think Tina Turner is one. I keep forgetting his name. Mackay, yeah. your friend from uh,
Oh,
uh,
Micah. Hmm.
Micah, sorry.
Micah. Hmm.
Micah is another one. I think if we just spend time to just talk about them and see how they, went through the metamorphosis just by anchoring the mind being, learning mindfulness. That's it. Yeah, I like it. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
So our English class, once a month, just once a month. So
Yeah.
we'll meet again next time. It would be it will be 2 days before July 4th, will be July 2nd.
July 2nd.
Yeah. Okay. So let me turn off the outside,
No, no
and
question out there?
I don't see any. I don't
Okay.
see any. Yeah. But you guys are welcome to ask questions, and if I don't, for some reason, if I don't catch it now in real time, we can have a Q&A in the beginning of next month session. That could be another way that we can deal with this. All right? Okay, let me turn off the outside.